In this showing, I would like to display, examine, and question what is the creative device within us. What makes us God? The interest here is to search for the machine behind the production of some distinctive pieces in the modern and contemporary eras of art. This is a question to think about when looking at these pieces. With this, we are to take into context what came previous and reference works through history, but mostly works that are within the lineage of post-photographic revolution, and the subcategorization of humans via gender and how this impacted art production. Part of discussing gender equity is to be objective towards both genders. Women, until recent times, were brutally oppressed, and still are in many ways. Though we have made many strides, there is still some distance to go. This notion is important in looking at these pieces as they depict the strength behind the creation. Hannah Hawke's Cut with the Kitchen Knife. The title is a piece in itself. This first piece of Dada art explores collage, a medium previous to the printing press was unusable with these media cutouts. To start the show with this is to make the statement that at this time in history, women are in the art world, and that is the reality in which we reside. This reality is absolutely possible, and the use of images is a prelude to pop art, and one can see the influence this piece had on Andy Warhol. Materiality in the construction of this challenge is what is art, as this is not a painting, and using photographs and images from other resources. Also note that she has a map of Europe showing women's right to vote. Edward Weston's Pepper number 30. Edward Weston was not associated with any particular school of thought such as Dada or the style. He took photographs and printed them. His genius was in taking ordinary objects and displaying them in a way never seen before. Appreciating this allows one to understand the contributions made to creative endeavors at this time. Also, the pepper looks so alien to a fruit. Looking at it from this period, it appears to be more of a futuristic, organic piece of architecture. Brancusi, Bird in Space. With Brancusi, we see how the expressive techniques of the creative arts developed to stretch after the idea of color theory and the development of technology. Artists are now in search of expressing the spiritual. This sculpture, in conjunction with the previous pieces, state a tone for artistic affairs, variation in interest and execution at this time. Kahlo, the two Fridas. The legendary Frida here shows sides of her soul. She now is arguably more notable than her husband, Diego Rivera, who's brought her to notoriety. This expression is as great as any great piece of art could be. Though her life may not have shown gender equity, she herself lived it and pushed for it. Mitchell, Untitled. Action painting was considered masculine, but Joan Mitchell helped make that an equal playing field for both genders. Here we see similar gestures in form to Brancusi and Weston, but from a female spirit. She continues to push the field, and we can see this influence in more contemporary works like Basquiat's Horn Players. Rothko, number 14. Though similar in style to Joan Mitchell, Rothko has a more refined and definitive composition. He explores going inwards towards focused exploration of few colors. This begins to really ignite our thinking and perception of art and what it could be. Frank Stella, Más o Menos. Here we see the composed lines moving in pattern with each other. Stella, like Rothko, focused and defined his exploration. Even the presentation of this begins to step away from what was a traditional canvas, expanding the field of where we can present and how. Tony Smith, Die. Here we see a large cube. It is in our dimension and not something we look down upon, but something that we can engage with spatially. We see the focus of Stella and Rothko further refined and manifest in this piece. He and the previously mentioned Stella and Rothko worked on this time with the women producing art as well, exploring and breaking down barriers of class and communication to create something stimulating for the human spirit. Jean-Michel Basquiat, Horn Players. In the realm of painting, Basquiat masters and executes all that was done previously. His untimely death occurred just as he himself had begun his maturing phase, but still, here we see the Mitchell, the Rothko, the Picasso, and the influence of the time and culture on him. He pays homage to the great jazz musicians that share his race and did so much to make us equal. Basquiat has refined what is bold, courageous, but yet refined even though the energy may be chaotic and can be done to a canvas, or anything one can paint on. Zaha Hadid, Signature Towers, Dubai. Dubai represents a culture known for challenging God, a city built where there shouldn't be one. For a woman to build their signature tower, in an oppressed female culture as well, shows where we have the potential to be as far as gender equity today. What is behind her design is far too complex to understand short of reading an entire book on it, but she stands on the shoulders of the women before her and conceptually on the deconstructivist giants like Libeskind who came before her. With this, we have seen the progression through the age in a small snapshot, from the minuscule to the monumental, and all the energies that were behind it, both genders, and the display has risen question in regards to what mechanism created them. We see clearly how those previous influenced those present, and what a wild God the human spirit can be.